We live in an age of ghosts. Look around you. We are surrounded by phantoms of connection, avatars floating on a screen, status updates from people we haven't spoken to in a decade. The sudden, jarring illumination of a text message lighting up our dark bedrooms in the dead of night, bringing a brief hit of dopamine, followed by a lingering emptiness. We have successfully engineered the most hyper-connected society in the history of the human species. We have satellites orbiting the Earth right now, beaming our voices across oceans in milliseconds. And yet, beneath the digital noise, beneath the frantic scrolling and the endless feeds, millions of us are walking around with a quiet, invisible ache. It is the great, defining paradox of the 21st century. We are drowning in communication, but we are starving for communion. Welcome to the Inner Archtecture, and this is the space where we examine the blueprints of the human mind. Today, we are taking a journey into the quietest, and sometimes the most terrifying, corners of human consciousness. Over the next few minutes, we are going to explore the devastating psychology of loneliness. We will uncover the restorative, brilliant art of solitude. And finally, we will look at the power of mindfulness, the psychological bridge that allows us to safely cross from the shadow into the light. So, settle in. If you are driving, just listen. If you are sitting at home, maybe close your eyes. Take a long, slow breath. Let the noise of the world fall away. Let's begin with the shadow side of silence. Let's talk about loneliness. Culturally, we do a terrible disservice to this emotion. We often treat loneliness as a character flaw, a sign that you aren't trying hard enough. We treat it as a temporary mood, or perhaps a poetic melancholy reserved for brooding artists. But science tells a profoundly different and much more urgent story. Loneliness is not merely an emotion, it is a biological alarm system. To truly understand this, we have to leave the modern city and travel back 100,000 years. Think of our hunter-gatherer ancestors on the ancient savanna. The late Dr. John Cacioppo, a pioneer in social neuroscience at the University of Chicago, dedicated his entire life to mapping what he called the lonely brain. Dr. Cacioppo discovered that the human nervous system evolved to register social isolation as a mortal threat. To early humans, separation from the tribe didn't just mean a quiet weekend to yourself. It meant exposure to predators. It meant a lack of shared food. It meant, almost certainly, death. You needed the tribe to survive the night. Therefore, evolution wired us so that when we feel isolated, our brain sounds a primal alarm. It screams, "You are separated from the pack. Find them, or you will not survive." This means that when we experience loneliness today, when we are left out of a social event, when a partner leaves us, or when we simply feel unseen in a crowded room, we are not just sad. We are physiologically under attack. Dr. Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA conducted groundbreaking MRI studies that revealed something absolutely astonishing about human neurobiology. She monitored the brains of subjects who were experiencing social rejection. She found that the pain of loneliness activates the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. Why does that matter? Because that is the exact same neural region that registers physical pain. To your brain, a broken connection hurts just as much as a broken bone. The ache is not a metaphor, it is a neurological reality. And because the ancient brain perceives this isolation as a physical threat, it throws the body into a state of hypervigilance. Your sympathetic nervous system kicks into overdrive. Your body is flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone, preparing you to fight or flee. White blood cells actually alter their genetic expression, increasing inflammation to prepare the body for a physical injury that isn't coming. Autonomous happens day after day. The toll is catastrophic. In a landmark meta-analysis reviewing data from over 3 million participants, Dr. Julian Holt-Lundstad at Brigham Young University found that chronic loneliness increases the risk of premature death by 26%. Let that sink in. Chronic loneliness is the physiological equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It is deadlier than obesity. Sociologically, we are living through an epidemic. In 2023, the United States Surgeon General officially declared loneliness a public health crisis. Look at the architecture of our modern lives. We have built sprawling cities that prioritize cars and isolated suburbs over community squares. We have shifted to remote work environments that, while convenient, remove the casual, friction-filled interactions of daily life, the chat with the barista, the shared glance with a coworker. And, most devastatingly, we have handed our attention over to algorithms. Algorithms that feed us the illusion of intimacy while stripping away the vulnerability required to actually achieve it. The brilliant theologian Paul Tillich once wrote something that perfectly captures our dilemma. He said, "Language has created the word loneliness to express the pain of being alone, and it has created the word solitude to express the glory of being alone." So, how do we find the glory? What happens when isolation is not inflicted upon us by a fractured society, but deliberately chosen by a sovereign mind? If loneliness is a state of psychological starvation, solitude is a state of psychological nourishment. The defining difference between the two lies entirely in one word: autonomy. Solitude is the deliberate autonomous act of stepping away from the social gaze. It is not a retreat from the world out of fear. It is a profound psychological requirement for self-actualization. Think about your average day. When we are constantly surrounded by others, whether in person or through the proxy of our glowing screens, our brains are trapped in a reactive state. We are constantly monitoring our environment. How am I being perceived? Did I say the right thing? What is expected of me? How many likes did that get? Do I fit in? This social monitoring takes an immense amount of cognitive energy. It drains us. Dr. Thivi Nguyen, a researcher studying the psychology of solitude at Durham University, has conducted fascinating studies demonstrating the regulatory power of being alone. Research shows that just 15 minutes of intentional, device-free solitude significantly decreases high arousal emotions. It acts as a neurological reset button. It turns down the dial on anger, on anxiety, and even on overwhelming excitement. When we intentionally remove ourselves from external stimuli, the brain does not simply shut down. It undergoes a remarkable shift in functional connectivity. It deactivates the attention networks used for outward focus, and it fires up what neuroscientists call the default mode network. The default mode network is the brain's theater of the self. It is the neurological pathway responsible for just watching the wind move through the leaves, or staring out the window of a train without looking at your phone. You might feel like you are doing nothing, but your default mode network is hard at work, quietly stitching together the fragmented pieces of your life, making meaning out of chaos. It is in solitude that artists find their muse. It is where scientists connect disparate variables that make no sense in the noisy, chaotic laboratory. In the 1950s, the renowned psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott argued that the capacity to be alone is actually the ultimate sign of emotional maturity. It means you have successfully cultivated an internal environment that is safe, interesting, and kind enough to inhabit without needing constant external validation. But here is the great, terrifying dilemma of modern life. If our minds have been hijacked by the anxiety of loneliness, how do we access the sanctuary of solitude? When we sit alone and the silence rushes in, it often brings our demons with it. We are suddenly faced with our regrets, our fears, our insecurities. How do we tolerate the quiet long enough for it to become beautiful? The answer lies in the ancient, and now scientifically validated, practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the psychological bridge. It is the alchemy that transforms the raw, painful lead of loneliness into the gold of solitude. At its core, mindfulness is the precise, non-judgmental awareness of the present moment. When loneliness strikes, our knee-jerk biological reaction is to escape. We feel that primal alarm bell ring in our chest, and we flee. We pick up our phones, we turn on the television to fill the room with voices, we pour a drink, we seek out hollow interactions just to prove to ourselves that we exist. We do anything to outrun the ache. Mindfulness asks us to do the bravest thing imaginable. It asks us to stay. In a fascinating study published in the journal Brain, Behavior, and Immunity, researcher J. David Creswell at Carnegie Mellon University took a group of older adults experiencing severe chronic loneliness. He didn't prescribe them more social activities. He didn't force them into crowded rooms. Instead, he enrolled them in an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program. The results were paradigm shifting. Not only did the participants report a massive reduction in their subjective feelings of loneliness, but their blood tests revealed a literal biological transformation. The mindfulness training had down-regulated their pro-inflammatory gene expression. By simply learning to sit with their own minds, without judgment, they deactivated the biological alarm bell. How does this work? It works through a process psychologists call interoception, the ability to perceive and observe sensations inside your own body. Let's try it right now. Wherever you are, just notice your breath. Don't change it. Just feel the air moving in and moving out. Now, imagine that familiar feeling of loneliness creeping in. When you sit in an empty room and feel it, mindfulness teaches you to observe the feeling rather than becoming it. You notice the tightness in your chest. You notice the shallow breathing. You notice the frantic, looping thoughts of the mind. I am isolated. I am unlovable. Everyone else is together and I am apart. But instead of believing that story, you take a step back. You just watch it. You say to yourself, here is loneliness. Here is my biology, doing exactly what it was designed to do, asking for connection. You do not fight it. You do not judge yourself for feeling it. You hold it in a space of compassionate awareness. You become the vast sky, and the loneliness is simply a dark cloud passing through you. It is weather. And weather always changes. When we do this, a profound psychological shift occurs in real time. We move out of the reactive, fear-driven amygdala, and we engage the rational, grounded prefrontal cortex. We realize that we are not the isolated self. We are the vast, untouchable awareness experiencing it. We begin to befriend our own minds. And once you are a friend to your own mind, you are never truly alone. We enter this world alone, and we leave it alone. But the space in between, the architecture of our consciousness, is ours to design. We cannot always control the social structures that isolate us. We cannot easily fix the sprawling cities, the demanding jobs, or the algorithms built to capture our attention. We cannot rewire the evolutionary biology that makes us crave the warmth of the tribe. But we can change how we relate to the silence. By understanding the physiological reality of our loneliness, we can finally stop blaming ourselves for feeling it. It is not a flaw. It is a feature of your humanity. By fiercely protecting our time for chosen solitude, we can build a rich, creative, and autonomous inner world. And by bridging the two with the gentle, steady presence of mindfulness, we can master the ultimate art of being human. Thank you for spending this time with me on the Inner Archtecture. As you step back into the noise of the world today, I invite you to try a simple experiment. Later today, when you find yourself alone, in your car, in your kitchen, or in your bed tonight, don't immediately reach for your phone. Don't run from the quiet. Take a deep breath, stay in the room, and dare to meet yourself in the silence.